Would you believe me if I said I got this far in the tutorial and realized I hadn't pressed record at all? But basically all that I've done so far is fill in my brows and outline the area that I want my wound to be using the NYX Jumbo pencil, and then using the white paint from the Snazaroo palette, just using a brush to apply the white paint to my face, and then using the Fenty beauty sponge to blend that all in. Now, if you saw the thumbnail and the title, as far as Hot Fire Clown goes, this is all inspired actually by a lipstick. Dose of Colors collaborated with Desi and Katy to create their collection, and one of the lipsticks they came out with is called Hot Fire. So I saw it and thought to myself, you know, I want to do a Halloween video around this lipstick, so I was thinking hot fire, fire is red, red Halloween clown, but then there's still the hot part, so the burned part. Technically this is a burned clown, but you know, the hot fire part makes it sound better, so that's what I went with. And also I would advise that you don't fill in your brows beforehand, because the white didn't really want to mix in with the concealer that I used to sharpen the brows and give me that angry clown type of brow. And later on I ended up just painting my brows black anyway, so yeah, I would advise against that. So I pretty much just kept doing that over again until I got to a white that I was happy with. Now, because these are water activated paints, I did use the white from the Sephora Pro Editorial palette to set the paint on my face, because your girl has oily skin, and when you're working with water activated paints, if you start sweating or anything like that, then it's gonna show on your face, fam. And if this is something that you are wearing out for Halloween, then I would definitely suggest setting it with a eyeshadow that is either the same color or a translucent setting powder. Now I'm going to start off with my eyes, and I'm just going to use these 3 shades from the Morphe 350 palette to build up my transition. Then I'm going to use this shade also from the Morphe 350 palette in my crease. And I went ahead and cut my crease, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out what lid color I wanted, so I just used the same white that I used from the Sephora Pro palette as my lid color. And I also went ahead and did some liner using the Wet n Wild liquid liner and lashes off camera. Now I'm just going to start drawing these curved triangles above and below my eyes. My friend decided to call me. You can kind of see me talking here while I was doing this, so I was extremely distracted and they weren't as symmetrical as I wanted them to be. And for some of it I was out of focus, so this is what I could, not out of focus, out of frame, this is what I could manage. Oh, and I used the black from the Snazaroo palette. I'm not sure what exactly happened to the clip of me outlining my lips, but I used a BH liner to overdraw my lips. Now for the star of the show, I'm using Hot Fire by Dose of Colors to fill in my lips. And you also want to extend your lips out to give it more of that clown look, and you can make your clown happy, sad, mad. Mine is pretty much what I am 24/7, just, you know, kind of chill, just went neutral there. Now I'm just going to draw my nose on, leave a little white spot there, make it a little more clownish. And I'm I'm sticking on these jewels that I got from Amazon. They were already sticky, so I just plopped them on, but if you're gonna wear something like this out, I would suggest using lash glue to make sure it stays on the whole night. Now I'm just taking some shades from the Brazil Take Me Back to Brazil palette and the Sephora Editorial palette to create a kind of bruised look on my skin using red, green, purple, and black, so that when I apply the liquid latex and the tissue and I start ripping into it underneath, you'll be able to see what already looks like a bruise, even though we're gonna do the same thing on top of it. And here I am just going along the edges of where my face and the wound kind of separate and shading it in with black so that it's a little bit more dimensional, and I can see my camera dying, so I'm going to stop here, let it charge a little bit, then come back and start playing with the latex. So my battery has had time to charge, and while I was off camera, I went ahead and added these ribbons to my head, and I also started drawing on this collar because I ordered one, but when I opened the box there was nothing in it. So now I'm just going to start taking some liquid latex. I'm using the one from Cinema Secrets and some tissue paper, and just start building where I want to place the liquid latex and the tissue on my face. I'm working in kind of small areas, I guess you could say, like a little ish, however you describe a little, and just building it all over my wound. If you take nothing else from this video, take these 2 words of advice. 1, don't get liquid latex in any type of hair that you have on your body. And 2, be prepared for the smell, all right? This smells like straight booty. So I let that dry a little bit. I decided I would just go ahead and start filling in the collar. Now again, this is very last minute, which is why I'm kind of rushing through this part, but I'm just using the white from the Snazaroo palette to fill in each and every other stripe that you see here on my neck, and then I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Sponge to kind of blend it in so it's not so streaky and patchy. But again, I would just suggest getting a collar off of Amazon like I tried to do, but Amazon played your girl. And now I'm going back to the liquid latex and starting to rip some holes into there, and I also ripped a little area at the bottom to have some hanging skin off. And I'm doing the same thing that I did underneath all of this, using the same 2 palettes, BH and Sephora, to create the burned, bruised skin type of look. And here I'm taking the black from the Sephora Pro palette and putting it directly in the holes and wounds that I created. for the fun part, fake blood. I'm putting fake blood in first the wounds that I created. This is from Mehron, and then I'm just putting it everywhere else on my face. Then I took some black shadow from the Sephora palette and darkened up the wounds. I also took a disposable sponge, cut it in half, and then gave it some texture, put it in red paint, and then dotted it all over my face, just so the wound, even though it already had texture, had some more. And now I'm just finishing the collar, first going in with orange and then putting red on top of it, both from the Snazaroo palette, so that it wasn't so dark red, but it wasn't bright either. I was trying to get as close as I could to the color of my lips, even though it's still a little bit darker than my lips. So I'm doing the same thing to my neck that I did on my face. You could take the liquid latex and the tissue paper down your neck. No. But you could do the same thing. I didn't, so I just created a bruised look on my neck as well. Here I'm just painting my hand so that it looks like the aftermath of being burned as well. And now I'm just dropping some blood drops on my neck and then going over it with some black eyeshadow to make it look a little bit more burned and dirty. And that is it for my hot fire clown. I hope you guys liked this one, and I will see you in the next Halloween video. Bye!